Three collectors from three different perspectives come together for a weekly show that catches you up on the hobby you love. Hobby news, hobby drama, insider talk, and everything from collecting, investing, and selling. Welcome to Inside the Hobby.
Hi everyone, welcome to Inside the Hobby. I'm Nicole, I'm the owner of the Phoenix Card Shop, and I'm the only one the rock didn't hit this week.
Yikes. I am Frank AZHP, and I am finally restarting my eBay store, which means I will be taking applications for shill bidders. Let me know.
And I'm Brian with Gray Street Sports Cards. And just so you know, this just in, the Bowl Minute Bowl Superfractor has been pulled.
Wow.
That's a lot of bowl.
That is a lot of bowl.
A lot of bowl in that one, yes.
A lot of bowl.
Hopefully I can trade for it and then get people to shill bid it for me.
There we go. Yeah, we'll start it up. I'll start shill building for you on that when you get it posted.
I have heard nothing of this. Just because I teach at eBay, I'm stating right now, I know nothing.
All right. Well, to begin today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about a few things. Kicking it off, we're going to talk about Geoff Wilson and CardsHQ. After that, we're going to be moving on to Fanatics and a Tom Brady signing, as well as exclusive signings. What do they mean for the hobby? Then we're going to be moving into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, as that was announced, as we're recording this just a few hours ago. Then we also have our February product release that we'll talk a little bit about, and we'll finish up, as always, with our mailbag. But let's get kind of started into our first story of the day. Talking about Geoff Wilson, CardsHQ. Are we ready for this, guys? The anticipation and excitement is right there.
Prepare
Let's
your
go.
anus for the level of cringe that you are about to see and hear.
All right. So, I have some facts I want to kind of go over. Do you guys know much about his store? Have you looked at it, like what it is or like anything about it? Or what is your guys' background of his store so far? Starting with you, Frank, what do you know of it?
I know that he essentially hired a couple guys that supposedly know their stuff to run a shop and open up a shop. From what I understand, it's in a very expensive part of a large city right across the street from like a baseball stadium or something. Very, very high real estate cost. A lot of square footage, a lot of space, and I don't know. And it's being financed by a guy that I've for years considered a complete fraud. As in, he presents himself towards companies, consumers, as someone who knows what he's talking about. When in reality, ever since I've ever seen him pop up anywhere around the trading card world, I immediately said, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't recommend channel on YouTube, blocked on Instagram, etc. So, I'm not a big fan. So that's what I know.
Okay, what about you, Nicole?
I met him at the Mint last year. And I have a couple interesting stories. One probably never should repeat legally.
Oh yeah, he also likes to try to claim he's going to sue people because they say things. So
So everything I have to say, I really cannot say.
Yeah, in all this, like, we are going to talk about the facts that we do know of his store. They're pretty much self-explanatory things that are out there.
I met him in person as he was working around.
Yeah.
So as I'm going to say, from that night, and everything that came from that night, and anybody who knows me, I'm sorry I can't tell you anything about that night. It happened in Vegas last year.
All right. So, the man, the myth, the mystery of Geoff Wilson, the guy that, whether you love him or you hate him, we're talking about him. We have definitely strong opinions. We will give our own opinions on this as well. And Frank, you kind of hit the head on right there as far as his store. It is 14,000 square feet is the size of this store. Isn't it? Just opened this last week. It is next to Main Event, which is a, like a Dave & Buster's kind of place with a bowling alley in it. Also a movie theater, and it is not very far from the Atlanta Braves Stadium. So those are just kind of some of the areas of like the location. Sports Card Radio did like a deep dive in the area. They kind of found out like most commercial real estate in that area is going for $4 per square foot. So when you kind of start thinking about the math of like per month what this could be in rent, obviously we do not know the numbers, but like just the numbers based on other places around there, it's an expensive space. Is definitely for sure that. No, we don't know if he got a deal. He could have very well got a deal paying $2, $1 square foot. We don't know. He did end up moving his studio into the location. So wherever he had the studio in Atlanta, that is now here. So obviously he doesn't have two spaces now. Part of the store, as you're kind of seeing this video kind of display, like here they are setting up cards and stuff. They have these vertical display cases. He saw them in Japan, and that's what he wanted to have in the store. They are not sold here in the United States. They are not, basically, the manufacturers of them don't sell them here because no card shops want them, therefore, or something like that. And they were custom built, custom made for him, which cost a lot more money for those display cases. And then he's going to have an area in the back of the store that's going to be called Breakers Row, where that's going to operate 24/7, where people will break on whatnot for those times. Obviously not all rooms, but things like that on there. I think you can actually go onto their website, and so during the Sports Card Radio's live stream last week, they were showing that you could actually see people, like kids were sitting at a table and breaking cards there, which the kids were just sitting there at the table and breaking cards like they were breakers, but they were just opening up the packs they bought. This is what they were doing. Obviously, there's a thing of like, why is, what do parents think of their kids being on the internet if they want
Sorry,
them?
I saw a Mandalorian card.
Yeah. And so he's got these two guys, Carter Musgrave and Ryan Van Oost, running the day-to-day. So, right there, two guys that we all know in the hobby very well.
I don't.
Oh, wait, that's right, we don't. We have no clue who these guys are.
Okay,
So
I thought you were serious for a second.
I knew he wasn't, but I was just like, he's not going to say that, really.
I thought you were going to say, like, there's from some random YouTube channel. And just like, I don't really watch hobby YouTube. So.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been diving into a lot, like, obviously, because I try to pay attention to things for, like, some of the news stuff for us on the show. Like, I do watch a lot of this stuff to get the content to talk about.
Right.
I've never seen these two guys before. Now, granted, they could just be local Atlanta guys, but, like, Jeff is trusting them for the buying and selling. They are running the operation for him.
I mean, sure, we don't know who they are, but I don't really see that as necessarily, like, the big problem. Like,
yeah.
if you expect to see any tiny level of success regarding this project, then you're going to hire people who you believe are going to run it properly to make you enough money to make it profitable. I mean, but that's assuming that you are actually running the business to be profitable. Like, I really don't see any level of profit margin from anything that Geoff Wilson has ever done in the hobby since he's entered it. So, like, show me an example of how he's actually made money in the hobby. When you look at everything he's ever bought and everything he's ever promoted, and you total any of it up. I mean, you can look at Mindcycle's YouTube video about it as well. He has lost money. He's paying production crews. He's not making AdSense money to pay for the losses of what his cards are. He's essentially just paying to be a celebrity. Like, if you know you're going to lose money, but you're going to become a celebrity in a particular field, then you can come into sports cards in 2019 or 2020 when he did, take your money that you already have, do the production company, you're losing money instantly, buy a bunch of stuff during the pandemic, promote a bunch of stuff during the pandemic, lose a bunch of more money over the next 2-3 years, and then do one of the things that, like, a tremendous number of people advise you not to do, which is open up a physical location, and not only do it at a physical location, but do it at a extremely high cost rent. Like, none of anything that Geoff Wilson has ever done has made any sense to me at all. And the fact that people even like him or pay attention to him is mind-blowing to me. Like, I kind of feel stupid for even covering this. So sorry for my rant, but that's basically how I feel about the entire shop. I don't know anything about these two guys, these other guys, and I don't really care. Like, okay, hopefully they know their stuff. If they don't, oh well, Geoff Wilson's going to lose more money, which I'm sure he went into this knowing and expecting that he's already going to lose money.
I mean, on the website, it does list those two guys as, like, part owners / like, investors, so it almost kind of sounds like they're just guys that had money to put into this as well. Like, you know, and that's kind of, like, where, like, my comment about those two comes in, because of the fact that when you think about, like, you're going to open a shop of this size, this magnitude, that's going to have to be selling all day long because of the fact that you're going to need to be pumping out cards, you have to take from a model of a card shop that's doing relatively the same. And whether you like them or not, Burbank is going to be that kind of model that was like, he has a staff of people that if you were to snipe someone, you would grab someone from Burbank and have one of those guys that knows the system that makes their shop a fluid running machine of cards in, cards out.
But even then, this is kind of like groundbreaking, right? Like, what card shop is this big with this much prominent location, etc.? Like, he, you know, if you are doing trading cards, if you're obviously heavily investing into, like, shop front to get people in the front door, I mean, that's usually something that is the complete opposite of what people who want to do card shops are doing. They want to find the warehouse spaces, the little business complex spaces, you know, like something that is a reasonable cost that's not, like, crazy right away. So I don't know. It just I don't know, man.
I mean, and that's not even the only thing. Like, the biggest thing this last week before they opened was that before they opened, they started to see there were some reviews on Google talking about the store. And just so happens that Geoff Wilson and Teapot. Well, Geoff Wilson and Teapot, who is part of Sports Card Investor, did a review for the store, which, for those of you that aren't aware, it goes against the terms of use with Google to review your own store. So those were things, I don't think they're up there anymore. I went through, looked at the reviews myself the other day, and there were, I mean, now the reviews are a bunch of bombs on there from people that you can tell probably weren't at the store and have just been bombing it, but there's also a lot of 5-star reviews of glowing reviews happening as well. So it's kind of this review war happening on his website or on Google at the moment because of the fact that it's public now. And so you have the haters hitting him, and he's got his friends hitting him, and that's why, like, you're starting to see videos from Mojo Sports, and Ryan Card Collector 2's was down there. So all these people have been down there, and even Sports Card Dad was down there. So, like, everybody was down there for this event, and there was a big card show event that was going on in Atlanta as well, which is where he was timing this all up with to have this be the opening weekend. But Sports Card Radio and some of the others kind of, like, showed that it wasn't all highlights. You know, when the store opened, of course, it was filled with a lot of people and the fanfare right off the bat. But there was a lot of people going, where's all the people at after a few hours? And let's face it, a sports card shop is not going to be filled with people 24/7. But then again, it's also not a place where people are going to sit there and go through. You know, we all like slabs, and we all would like all of our cards to be in slabs, but in all reality, are we going to buy every card slabbed like this if we're going to walk through a store, or are we going to go through some value boxes? And that's where I know he has them in the store because other videos they do show it, but, like, you see in this video we've been playing this whole time, it's nothing but slabs, and that's what he's having everybody kind of focus on. And to me, the biggest thing that's going to be hard for him is that running a card shop of this size, this magnitude, and selling cards that his brand doesn't really kind of, I guess, represent. Because when I think of his show and think of his channel, it's PSA 10, ultra modern and modern football, basketball. And now he's going to be trying to sell dollar cards of Hall of Famers of like 1980s tops and things like that, because he's going to have to buy to fill this shop with cards because it's so large. And then there's, what are his fans going to be saying of like, hey, Geoff, why didn't you grade all those 1990 Fleer Michael Jordans to see if you got a 10 out of that?
I mean, not only
things
that,
like that.
But when he was... I saw a video that you had linked that that was him buying tens of thousands of cards at a card show. And he, the guys were sorting cards out by $1,000 worth. And he's using market movers.
Yes. Yeah, he used market movers in that to price it all out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, and it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Like, if you want to use your unreliable promotional app that you are charging for to price cards that you are buying, okay. Once again, it's just another move that I see that is less than stellar on the intelligence scale, but I mean, what do I know? Yeah. He's the one with enough money to open up shops and pay people. Yeah. He's the one who has the money to lose. So,
and that's even in the last couple of things that we'll go and we'll move on from this topic is that he made a statement as well before the shop opened that he is not going to allow someone to walk in and make an offer on cards. What the sticker says is what you're paying, and that's what it's going to be. And so a lot of people, of course, I think with this Cardboard Life has memed it, we're like, he's going to sell things for 100% comps, but yet he's going to buy everything from you for 60% comps. Like, and it's everybody has been like kind of like saying that because in that video, the guy had $100 and some $1,000 collection that they were buying from him, and they paid 60% of comps for that guy with that to buy it all. And the two things I took from that video is one, yes, he does that, but then he will sell it for 100% comps and won't budge. So if you want to pay $75 for an $80 card, he's going to say no and walk out the door. It says $80. But the other thing that I saw was how, like, this is coming from me from 10 years of leadership analysis, where I've been in, like, trained and taught how to be an effective leader, teach people, and so on and so forth. And I've learned from my mistakes of doing this, but being a wishy-washy, like, leaning on your team to, like, make the decision and sound like you're unsure is a great way for your team to fail. And all I saw in that video when he was trying to have them buy is like, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And, like, as a leader of this group that's going to be running this shop, those two need to know he's the guy. And if he says, no, we shouldn't be paying this much, it should be this, and I'm not going to pay more than that, you can't spend this, like, be definitive, and it's okay to, like, let these people know sometimes.
Brian, the guy has no personality. The guy is literally, like, the epitome of smiling face with, hi, everybody, hello! Once again, buy what I think.
Welcome
Use
to
my
the new
app.
Segment of Scumbag of the Week.
Yeah. Maybe we should make it a regular Scumbag of the Week.
Yeah. I may actually work on that for this next week with some of the things I've found for next week's stories, but
I mean, wouldn't it be like every week Geoff Wilson would be... Maybe we should have, instead of like, ComC does their top 5.
Maybe we should scumbags.
Have Inside the Hobby top 5 scumbags for the month of...
Number 4.
All right. I think. What do you guys think?
All right,
I'm good with
done.
Geoff Wilson at this point. All right.
Nicole didn't say much, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. Yeah.
We understand. It's he's a topic that sometimes, obviously, everything, of course, is in our own opinion here as well. So there's
Geoff
that.
Wilson's a fraud. If you are listening or paying any attention to anything that he does, other than to laugh at it, then you're doing it wrong. So, yeah.
Right.
So what else we got going on, you guys? Do we have any cooler news?
Next, we're going to talk a little bit about Fanatics exclusive signing deals.
Uh-oh.
So, yes.
And the next come back up for bids.
Oh.
Yes. So,
sorry.
I mean, there was a recent video I saw this week from a guy named SCV Sports Cards, and he kind of brought up the topic as well, where different kind of scenario where, Victor Wembanyama and some of these rookies were signed, and this is their rookie year, and Topps Fanatics has barely had them sign anything. But then this also goes into, we know LeBron James just signed an exclusive deal, but then there's also Tom Brady did, and we know about his refractor. If you don't know too much about that, you can look it up. There's a lot of things about his baseball one. It was all a marketing scheme. It's not even him. It's some other player.
Cool. Expos.
Yeah,
I still think it's cool. Like, I don't even care.
It's still
that
cool.
It was somebody else.
It's just the fact that it was a Photoshop guy. Like, it's a different player.
But like, I would say 10% of the cards that are on the market right now are Photoshopped. Yeah. I think more cards on the market are Photoshopped than people are aware of.
Very, very true. And, like, we all could see this one was Photoshopped. Like, I saw him like, well, of course it is, because they're saying it's him as a rookie, and he's not. He's 45, 46? I don't even know how old he is anymore. But anyway, Tom Brady was going to go to a Tyson Beck event in Australia this month. And for those of you that don't know, Tyson Beck is, like, an artist that kind of does private auctions and sales of his like art cards that he makes. They're actually kind of pretty cool cards that I've seen. He's done one with Dennis Rodman.
Isn't he a boxer?
Tyson Beck?
Yeah.
I don't know much about like who he is. I just know he does these cards, and like you can see the cards right there of these Tom Brady cards. They're custom made, and he was going to have a day with Tom Brady coming in to sign, meet him, all this kind of stuff and so on. Well, just before the event happened, Tom Brady was notified by Fanatics that he's not allowed to sign at all because he's signed with Fanatics and this isn't a Fanatics event. And so all the people kind of had to be like refunded. We don't know like whether these cards actually got the autos on them, if he was allowed to do that later or something like that. Either way, Tyson Beck did have to refund a lot of people for this event for his one specifically. I don't know exactly how the whole event went down after that because all Dan the Cardman kind of reported on is that he didn't go there and sign, but he sounds like he was at the event. Either way, it kind of brings up the question that I have for like you guys on this is, what do you guys think of these exclusive deals of signings, of having guys like Tom Brady and all this exclusively sign with one company? Therefore, if they go anywhere else, they're not allowed to sign if it's not sponsored by or run by Fanatics. I'll start with you, Nicole. What do you think of this kind of stuff?
I honestly do believe that is one of the stupidest things to signing exclusivity thing, because it takes away from the fans and from other products. And I think that's stupid. It also devalues some of the autographs, in my opinion.
Okay. Why do you think it devalues them, at least?
Okay, so say, for example, Wayne Gretzky had signed with Upper Deck, but there was something cool coming out in Panini Immaculate Hockey. But it wanted to honor the great one from everybody from Edmonton on that thing. From that and from their first cup win. But he can't sign.
Yeah. Okay. I see, like, it'll kind of, like, still,
it could
takes the creativity
the
of card making away, kind of, in a way. So if somebody's got the idea to do, like, a Edmonton Oilers cup honoring, he's the only one that they can't have signed. They have to put a sticker that says no autograph or something.
They can't even put his face on the card in certain signing.
Yeah.
In certain product things.
Yeah. Michael Jordan has to be airbrushed out of Panini cards that have him in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So exclusivity is not new. I mean, we've seen this since the 90s. I mean, when did Upper Deck sign Jordan? 91? 91, 92? One of those. It was right around that period. And
somewhere around
it was when he won his first championship in 91.
So, I mean, we've seen Michael Jordan sign like that. This happens with everything. I mean, it happens with video games. Look at Madden. You have to buy Madden now. Look at the current trading card market. You have to buy Panini or Topps or Upper Deck, depending on what sport. It only makes sense that the very, very few monopolies that are remaining after the 90s boom, where we had 22, 25 different companies, each putting out 1 to 4 products each. This is just the evolution of it. And they're gonna sign exclusive deals until there's only one company left. And then we're all just going to be at the whim of the one company. This is essentially...
we love the leader.
This is the epitome of late-stage capitalism from a, it doesn't matter what it is.
We love the leader. Shh.
So let me ask you this question then. Knowing that exclusivity's been around for as long as it has, it doesn't seem to I'm, formerly, when I was looking at video games, of course, I am not for it because competition seems to drive better creativity, makes it better for the consumer because we get a lower price and better product overall. So let me ask, what would you do if you could fix it all? What would be your way to say, all right, this is what we need to do about exclusivity and signing deals and so on and so forth?
Don't do them. Don't do them.
Who am I in this scenario? In this
you are in charge of all sports memorabilia and cards.
Oh,
so does that mean I'm the head of Fanatics?
Oh.
Sure. Yes.
If that means I'm the head of Fanatics, I don't change anything. I keep signing exclusive deals. I keep trying to buy all the licenses. And keep trying to own everything. So it's a business standpoint. If I was, let's rephrase that. Let's say I was the head of a National Basketball Association or National Football League or whatever. If I was them, my answer would be different, and it would be better for the consumer. And that would be, we are no longer signing an exclusive license. We are granting a total of 15 licenses across physical trading cards, digital or NFT, which are dumb, but whatever, people are going to do it anyway. And, other things like sound and video options. You know how it is. People who make toys, people who make school supplies, etc. Whatever. You have your licenses. Instead of doing exclusives all the way across the board, one company for everything, and have them be the largest bidder, instead give your consumers multiple options by saying, you can make X amount, you can make X amount, you can make X amount. They can have different tiers. There's budget stuff and there's expensive stuff. There's competition, which breeds innovation. We talked about it on the last episode. There's no innovation in cards anymore. Why? They don't have any need to compete with each other. They can pump out the same exact thing from the same exact printers with no extra technology. We had better cards coming out from the 1990s than what we have coming out today.
Absolutely.
So, competition breeds innovation and better for the consumer. And that's all what I'm about. So, but if I was in Fanatics' position, I wouldn't change a thing. They're dominating the market. That's what they're supposed to do as a business. So, until you are regulated, this is never going to be regulated by the government. The government is never going to step in to the trading card market and say, you are too high of a monopoly and you need to be split up, like they've done with Microsoft in the past. They're never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen in the video game industry either. So we're going to have the Madden and the 2K licenses. It is what it is.
I will say, because I was watching a lot with the sports video game world, their approach was to go after the NFLPA and the NFL. When they were upset about Madden,
Yeah.
They made like Twitter hashtags every day to bomb Madden, and like they were like, Commissioner Goodell, this is your game that you're publishing. Do you want this? And like,
yeah,
that was their approach, was to like be like you said. So I do think you're onto something. It's like these sports leagues need to realize, like, do you like, especially like Goodell, he's all about protect the shield, and then this is what his football product looks like. This is what's happening with his players outside. But that's the thing,
is technically Goodell is protecting the shield at that point, because he only has one company that has to answer to him for approval on things, and he can just say to that one company, no, you can't do that, that's not cool, or whatever, and doesn't have to worry about it. Obviously with more companies, whatever. But you know what, I want to give a suggestion and a recommendation to you and to any of our viewers. Soft Drink TV on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
He has been covering the differences and the quality differences and the or the monopolistic practices of EA with Madden on his YouTube channel for 4 to 5 years. He's covered 2K, he's covered all the old retro games, and his channel is great to watch, to see in an example of what the monopoly does to an industry and what it's done to Madden, right? Like Madden, the last like 8 years have been absolute trash. Their roster updates, they have like 10% of what Madden 2005 had and NFL 2K5 had. It's just, they don't care anymore because they don't have to compete against somebody else.
Exactly.
So, and it all started because 2K5 came out for $30 brand new over Madden 60, and it sold like crazy. It was one of the greatest football games that ever happened. And then after that, EA realized, hey, we're losing a lot of money to our competitor who's selling a game brand new at half the cost, and it's a better game. Chris Berman at halftime, ESPN layouts, like the whole 9 yards. Go watch Soft Drink TV. But this
Absolutely
is just...
will recommend that as well.
I'm sorry for getting off on another rant here, but like, it's just the monopolization of the trading card industry, which I don't see as any different from anything else that we've dealt with in the last 15 to 20 years in the sports worlds.
Yeah, and I'll put it like, just because I'm also a fan of his channel as well, of Soft Drink. I watch his stuff. The other guy that kind of does that, he's a little more different, but anyway, the one thing that he has always said as well is like, we in the sports world have the power as well. It's hard for us because we love sports so much, and whether it's video games or sports cards, we want the latest, the greatest. There's always new rookies, there's always new somebody that we want to chase.
Right, but we never...
Yeah, what was that, Nicole?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, there's always going to be some when we always chase, but they're never going to be like some of it attainable.
Yeah.
The prices out there right now, a lot of stuff is unattainable for the
Exactly.
average person.
And while it's unattainable, it's one of those things of like, if it is so ridiculous, the one thing that kind of speaks to all companies, no matter what it is money. And if we're not buying their stuff, they're probably going to look at it and say, should we change? You know, that's part of the reason why, like, we're seeing it with Madden. Sales are going down, and therefore, are they going to decide to change? We can do the same thing with sports cards. If they don't want to make it that way, we're
going to have
buying.
To at some point. Yeah. There's not going to be a choice, but it's probably not going to happen right away because Fanatics hasn't taken over as the exclusive for the other two. You know, the other two of the three main sports that are left. So I mean, Upper Deck still has hockey for now, but when basketball,
their licensing's up next year.
So I mean, a lot of them they can just renew real quick though too.
You know what? That's not something I'm aware of right now, is what the Upper Deck hockey situation is and whether they will re-sign or not. But if you look at it, in another 2 years, Panini is going to have, Fanatics is going to have baseball, football, and basketball exclusive.
And UFC now.
So and UFC and WWE.
Yeah.
So, and they already have F1. Who knows if they'll get NASCAR? But what's Panini going to have left? Like, even some of the soccer is done by both companies or whatever, depending on what the league or World Cup.
Panini does baseball now too.
Just unlicensed stuff. Yeah, people hate. I don't even care. I'll buy unlicensed stuff. 1970s Topps football was unlicensed. I didn't care. I still bought it. But I don't know. Like, as much of a Topps fan as I am, I'm just as worried about this whole monopolistic situation. And whatever, like, for an example, what you mentioned, Brian, what the video game world did for Madden over the last couple years with all the hashtags on Twitter, which did make somewhat of an impact.
It did.
The NFL announced that they would allow someone to make a casual NFL game to where Madden's still going to have the simulation license. But the point is people complained enough, and Madden's have been getting review bombed all over like Metacritic for the last 4 or 5 years. Critics and users, just regular users, and that is going to have to happen with Topps Fanatics as well, I'm sure. It's just a matter of whether it's going to happen 2 or 3 years after they have that 3 or 4 major licenses, or whether it's going to happen 7 years. It depends on what quality they're going to bring. So I can't, we're coming back to the Tom Brady, I cannot blame them for making this decision, because right now they are at war with Panini. They want their exclusive. They want all of their attention on their product. They are doing what is right from a business standpoint. Does that mean I'm happy with it, or that it's good for me or the consumer? No. Can I blame them? No. But it's, it's the NFL's fault, really, at the end of the day, because they're the ones who accept an exclusive licensed company.
Yep. All right. With that said, moving on.
Am I
to
ranting
the
too
next
much
topic.
on this episode, you guys?
What's that?
Nah, not at all.
No. With that said, I think it's time we move on to the Hall of Fame inductees.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. We're gonna fight for victory.
Nicole is very excited.
I've been so quiet all night.
She
Saving
got
it.
How many Bears got in here? What do we got?
3 Bears.
Hester,
It's
McMichael.
2. We got a Panther that's also
It's also a bear.
and
he was
Peppers,
also a Packer.
yeah. And
Can't help his life choices.
I'm super excited that Patrick Willis got in. I think over the next couple days, I'm gonna start digging out all of my Topps Chrome Willis cards, and I'm gonna do a really, really dope photo on my table back here, and I'm gonna post it. So I'm very, very excited about Patrick Willis getting in. That's great.
Yep.
Mine was actually the big one for me was Steve McMichael. That's the one I wanted. Yeah, besides Hester.
So we did. Okay, remember how I mentioned when we were discussing the Hall of Famers? I mentioned between Holt, Wayne, Steve Smith, Andre Johnson, all the above. I was like, who should get in first? And I'm pretty sure I said Andre Johnson should be in first. I'm pretty sure I said he should be a Hall of Famer.
You did.
A first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it was his second time being a finalist.
Correct.
So once again, I think he should have been a first ballot, but I'm glad he got in. But that means that Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt did not get in, and next year, if they make finalists, then both of them will have made finalist lists 6 times without being in. So that's a little tough. Steve Smith, this would be his second year, I believe. So we have so many wide receivers on the board for future years. I'm surprised that Peppers and Freeney got in. I expected
that was cool.
one or the other.
I think it's very defense orientated, the class. I mean, you got 2 people who are offense.
Yeah.
Randy Gradishar is long, well deserved.
Correct.
Like, he should have been in 15 years ago. I picked up a bunch of his rookie cards a couple years ago, too, thinking he was going to get in. And then, like, he still wasn't in, and I was surprised. Does this change any of your guys' collecting habits at all?
I just sent in for grading my Hester stuff and actually my Patrick Willis stuff, so.
Okay.
It will for me, like, I'll be definitely, for me, Andre Johnson is, like, he's one of those receivers that I kind of grew up watching a lot of, just because, like, saw him at the saw him at the U, and then saw him at Houston. He was always, like, next to Megatron, he was always, like, one of those guys that I thought was just amazing.
Yeah.
I also think he's kind of a special Hall of Famer for this year's class, just because of the fact that he's really the first modern Houston Texan to get in. There is somebody in the Hall that is technically a modern Houston Texan, but he didn't play for him all the time. Yes, Ed Reed.
Correct.
I know my Hall of Famers pretty well. It took me about 4 seconds. You can rewind and see me thinking about that.
Yep, absolutely. Because and what's nice is like he was one of the first guys drafted. Well, in the first early years of that team, really the greatest players in their first few years. And we all know J.J. Watt's going to get in, but like J.J. was even like, I don't want to be the first Houston Texan Hall of Famer of the modern one. He wanted Andre Johnson, so
correct.
I think he's going to be real happy to see that he got in this year because, like, I think JJ's been kind of salty about a lot of things, and, like, I could see him being pissed if he got the nod before Andre Johnson, if he was made to wait that many years, because, like, that kind of is a shame if that he did, so it's good to see he's in.
True.
I'll ask this, like, because the one question I have is, like, with all these in Hall of Famers and stuff like that, does this kind of, like, lock in their pricing for like what we see of their cards, or do they start to have incremental rise because they're Hall of Famers now?
Steve McMichael, unfortunately, if he declines more in his health, I think the prices are going to go up for his autos so much for the wrestling stuff and the football, because there is TNT cards back in the day.
Oh, the NWO wrestling, he has those too. Yeah, that's an epic set. That's like one of the most highest demanded and most highly counterfeited wrestling cards is that WCW NWO autograph set from, I think it's 1998. I didn't know he was in that set, but I mean, McMichael has a million autos.
He's in there as for TV commentator with the other dude. They have a co-signed card I've seen, which is creepy, by the way. And I know my wrestling stuff, so I could say creepy.
Yeah, especially after what's been going on in wrestling lately. But besides the point, I mean, McMichael has a lot of autos out there, and like, are they going to get like some small bump now that he got out of the Hall? Yes.
Yeah, Frank, you've obviously, like, we know your collection's all like pretty much football Hall of Famers. Like, do you notice from like going to shows and stuff, like once a guy's in the Hall, like his prices start to go up slowly, or do you kind of see everything kind of stay the same, or what do you typically see at least with guys that are in the Hall once they're inducted?
Expect. I mean, and I like, I have a port on ComC with guys that are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. And that's pretty much a lot of what I do buy as well, for my collection. Do they get a bump? Yes. Right away, of course, short term. After they've been inducted in the Hall for 8-9 years, it levels back out again for the most part. The rookie cards still go up quite a bit and maintain value a lot better. So, I mean, Patrick Willis's, let me give you an example. Patrick Willis PSA 9 Topps Chrome rookie cards were going for around $20 for the last 4 years. I don't know what they're going for right now, but it's probably going to be more around the 35 to 40 range. Now, I only do 9s. I don't deal with like 10s because I don't care. I'd rather have the card in a 9 than the card in a 10 and $300, less money.
Okay.
So like, but that's just to give you an example. So, but I think 5-6 years down the road, now that these guys are inducted, I think the prices will level down a little bit because people will start forgetting about them like they do, everybody will be hype on the brand new rookies from 2030, and they're going to not care about who made the Hall of Fame in 2024 as much. But they'll still maintain like a little higher bump. I think some people will try to get a lot more out of a lot of these guys right away now. Now's like the best time to sell for any of these guys because that's when people are going to buy. So I already have a bunch of these guys, but like if I see something at a reasonable price, I'll pick it up. But my buying habits are not going to change at all with any of these guys. I was collecting all of these guys anyway before because I knew they'd all be Hall of Famers. They were all in my spreadsheet.
Yeah. What about you, Nicole? Yeah. Like as a seller, like you've been selling for 15 plus years and so on. Do you ever notice like because they're a Hall of Famer, you start to see like more of a spread of value across the grading? So like it's not just the 10 anymore. Like 9s, 8s, 7s start to kind of like rise in certain cards.
I just sold last weekend a Barry Sanders in a 6 for $40.
Okay. Was it like a... What year was it? Was it like his rookie year, or was it like a few years after?
89.
Pro set, tops, or score?
Tops.
So it was a PSA what?
6.
It was a 6 and you got $40 for it?
That's not bad.
No, that's great.
Yeah, because...
And then they paid $40 for the 6.5 one, too.
Well, hey.
Okay.
So,
all right.
That's way higher than market value, so good for you.
Yeah. Obviously, like Frank mentioned, you probably see a bump in like the Hall of Famers. Like they start to sell a lot more during this time. Is this like you set your store up to be like, hey, these guys are available in my store for the next few weeks now that it's announced?
I don't have anyone who's back yet from grading, but when I have it ready for when it goes the weekend of the Hall.
Okay.
That's a show, so I'm going to be prepared that week for it. That was my goal.
So you actually wait for like the August Hall of Fame induction, like when they're putting their jackets on and everything.
I got some beautiful Helton stuff that's going to go up in July during the baseball.
Okay.
So I plan around usually enshrinement for selling.
That's interesting. That's good to know.
And then same thing for the UFC Hall of Fame in April.
Okay. So do you say like you see more of a bump during the induction than you do see the nomination of it then?
Correct. So I usually am always doing posts for the induction, and that's when I have stuff scheduled going up in places, or I take it to a show. Like, for example, I am getting together my WrestleMania set that I'll be selling.
Okay.
I'm going to have it in one of my cases because I have a show that weekend. I'm going to have I'm going to have cards of every person in a match.
Nice. All right.
But yeah, that's how I plan stuff around events.
Fair enough. I don't do anything special on mine. I mentioned that I'm going to reopen the eBay store. This won't change my selling habits either. Or anything from ComC. I might go in and raise a couple of my prices for some of these guys that got in, because hey, let's face it, they got in, they are going to be more valuable.
Yeah.
And
right.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I sold a Patrick Willis card last week, so
nice.
On ComC. So I mean, people were expecting some of this, and there's plenty of people who play this Hall of Fame game on buying. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure people will get some bumps in sales.
In the weird thing, during the awards tonight, I sold all my Flacco rookies after he got named Comeback of the Year.
Good.
Yeah, I know. They finally went somewhere.
Yeah, you didn't think you'd sell them, huh?
No, I've been stuck with them since 2009.
Fair enough. Right next to your Kyle Bowler rookies.
Ooh, man, I have that too. Really?
All right. Well, that gives you an example of how long I've been collecting.
Yeah.
All right. We should move on. What do we got? We got new releases for February. I think.
Product releases.
We got
February.
new products. So first we have that came out this past week is 2023-2024 Dunruss Elite Basketball. I know, nobody cares.
Okay.
All right,
yeah.
2023-2024 Panini Prism Basketball.
Wait, that's out. It's out right now.
That came out on the 7th.
Okay. Yesterday.
I don't know if it's like an updated version. I saw that too and was wondering why it was like being announced again. It's probably they screwed up something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? It came out like a week and a half ago. It's got they put the curtain behind Wemby. It's the Wemby curtain rookie. How do you screw that up? How do you screw that up? It just blows my mind. People have been making fun of it and memeing it. It's like, how do you drop the ball like that? I think they just really don't care. There's no way they're this dumb.
Yeah, with everything they've had this last year, like even with the reported finding like autograph stickers and cards of a guy in somebody's trash bin or something like that, or like their release of this basketball product being this bad, it's especially for a guy like Wemby who is this highly touted to like screw up his rookie year when you have the exclusive deal. Going back to that is just stupid. Like, how do you?
Panini it blows my mind how incompetent Panini is, and all they'd have to do is like hire like 5 or 6 longtime collectors to be advisors, and they would fix anything and everything.
Well, if you really feel this way about Panini, we're gonna be stuck like this for a while since the next 5 products are all Panini. I'm about to say.
All right, enough of Panini borders. What else do we have?
Well, of course we have Panini Prism Racing.
More Panini borders.
Skybox Metal Universe of All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, that's cool.
Which coincided this past week with the event they had in Phoenix, where Sting became the tag team title.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't watch
Darby
AEW,
Allin.
but this is all I know. Yes.
I know a little bit. I don't really watch it that much either. I know I'll watch the highlights and stuff sometimes, and I'll see what comes up on Instagram. But I don't know. I like who doesn't like Upper Deck Metal? Like Upper Deck Metal is a quality, fun product.
It's Skybox Metal Universe.
Well, okay. If we want to really break it down, it's Fleer Skybox Metal.
Yeah.
It's Upper Deck. It's all owned by Upper Deck now, anyway. And once again, another case of Monopoly. Yep. Fleer and Skybox were different, and then they were bought out and merged, and then they were bought out by Upper Deck. Okay, no, Fleer was actually originally bought by Marvel. And then sold by Marvel to Skybox. I think that's the way it happened. Yeah, and then Upper Deck bought them. But yeah, pretty soon we'll just be buying
Fanatics,
Fleer, Skybox, Panini, Amazon, WNBA Series 2 Prism.
Brought to you by Walmart.
Right, exactly.
That's not funny. That is not funny.
All right, what else? What other Panini products do we have?
Well, the next one was Upper Deck. So 2023-24 SP Game Used Hockey.
SP Game Used solid product. I don't do hockey, but it's always been a solid product.
I was kind of looking at that one. The one thing I will say is, even though I think they have it on the list, there's something about that one that doesn't look like it's finalized. I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets kicked down a few weeks.
That's what I was thinking.
Because there's certain things about that product release I noticed, like they didn't have certain details announced on it yet, that I'm like, okay, It's probably
Yeah, you
close,
don't
but
know how
maybe
many
not quite ready.
So, 2023 Panini Zenith Football.
I do give Panini a tiny bit of credit. I know, hell is freezing over. They took the old
Pinnacle Zenith.
Pinnacle Zenith from 1994 and 95 and 96, and they've been doing a lot of stuff with it lately.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a smart move. You have the old licenses.
Use them.
People are fond of that stuff. Use it.
And if you don't use it, it expires and becomes worthless.
Oh, I don't think it like not in those cases, because they bought the companies that did those designs.
Ah.
As a fellow shiny card buyer here, yeah, it kind of interests me, the Pinnacle with the artist proofs and...
So next one is 2024 Top Series 1 Baseball. Yeah.
I bought a little bit of Topps Series 1 last year, was kind of disappointed in what I got, so I'm probably going to just wait for Chrome to come out rather than get Series 1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was very disappointed with last year's product.
Because, I mean, like, the
about
only
the
guy that's
design,
going to be in
though,
it
this
is
year?
maybe, Ellie De La Cruz rookies, because I don't think he was in Series 2 last year, if I remember right.
That's true. Cruz was the only thing.
So he should be Series 1 this year. If he's not,
Yes.
then it's like what they did with Corbin Carroll last year, where they put him in Series 2 for... Which, they gotta stop doing that. Like, if a guy played last year, like, put him in Series 1. If a guy gets called up at the end of this year, like, then, yeah, I understand why he's not in Series 1 or 2, but, like, come on.
I agree with you. Topps has done that forever.
I know.
They've done that for decades at this point. Saved people for certain series so that they could sell more.
Yeah.
Here's the question, though, for both of you. I mean, I don't really do baseball. I'm more concerned about, like, the design. We just saw what the design was debuted, like, 3 weeks ago or something on their social media. What do you two think of the 2020... What is it, 2024?
Yeah.
What do you think of the 2024 Topps design? Because you know it's going to be in any other sports, too.
Yeah, I know. I actually try not to think about stuff like that because I get tired of seeing the same things in different products. Like the same NASCAR prism is the same WNBA prism.
You don't like the same design across all products?
No. No, I don't. I actually find that so monotonous and annoying.
I mean, they only do it with Topps. Like Donruss for Panini and Topps Flagship for Topps, and then the parallels, Optic and Chrome, etc. But like, yeah, Prism, yeah. No, but I'm talking about like
WNBA football,
that
NASCAR.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, WNBA football, NASCAR, all the same year, all the same 2021, and they're the same freaking thing. Do you know how tiring that is to see that? You see it on their baseball. Now you see it.
You are not the only one that feels that way too. I hear, because I always say that 1992 Topps is like one of my all-time favorite designs because it's like really plain and basic. I like the fact that it's across all four main sports, so I can have, a Dion, and I can have like four players that are all from different sports, and they look design-wise the same. I like that fact, but there are many people that say they don't like it because that was the year they started doing the same design across all sports.
And now the Prism is the same across all sports, and so are the Mosaics, and so are the Immaculates. Yeah,
my point was that Topps only does it with Flagship and then Chrome parallels and stuff. Like, sure, I'm sure Panini, may do it across multiples or something too, but like I feel like all the other Topps all have different designs, whether it's 5-star or Inception or Heritage, like they all
Right. They all
obviously
have different
Heritage
things,
is using
but
classic
then,
designs.
but
But I
then
feel like
those
Topps doesn't
even
overdo it.
Prestige does the same thing now, and it's just.
Prestige has the same design across multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
And Prestige is trash, so
Yeah.
I don't pay much attention.
It just gets weird. You look at a Panini Contender set, you'll see for football it's the same borders as basketball for that year, and same
general design though. You
general.
don't like it?
Yes, it's just I like something different. I mean, that's why
Okay.
I like just little different things. Like in the Select series, at least they do some different die cuts. They do different colors.
Yeah, I mean, we can only expect so much with flagship Topps.
But that's for football and basketball. They do completely different color schemes on both and die cuts on both. They're not the same.
General 2024 design, Brian, do you like it? No? Yeah?
I saw the latest design. I thought it's better than last year's. I thought it was a little bit more. I kind of like the little bit more color around it for this time.
It's kind of got that neon thing going.
So I don't know. I think I do kind of like it for that part. I don't know how much of it I'd buy, to be honest, but it's definitely obviously it's like a new thing coming out, so it's one of those I'll probably look at.
Yeah,
if I'm going through value boxes and see cards in there of guys I want to grab, I'll probably grab them.
Right. I don't like it as much as last year's or the year before, in my opinion. And I don't know if the whole neon look is going to hold up long term. I think when we look back 15 years from now and we look at 2024 design with the neon, I don't know if that's going to hold up or not. Sometimes you just look at older designs and it's just they have some weird cheesy thing that doesn't hold up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like these might be. But I don't hate it. It sounds like I'm I hate it, but
I didn't
it's
think
okay.
that. I wasn't thinking that.
All right. All right. What else we got?
Well, honestly, we do have Panini 2022-23 Flawless Basketball. Now, made me wonder, is that a misprint or are they that behind?
I mean, judging by Panini, they're probably just behind. But that's a big product. Didn't we mention that last month, too?
We did. No. I think that sounds like they kicked that one down
pushed.
the road a little bit.
I thought Flawless Football was on that list from last.
Once again, it all blends in. They're all exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
I know the other one that you mentioned last month was Immaculate, which was the new one, and I saw that made the February list on one of them as well. So it just sounds like these weren't
Right. The next stuff was the Panini Contenders Basketball, National Treasures Racing, Elite Extra Edition Baseball, and Immaculate Collection Football. They were all in the previous month.
Yeah. So they kicked them down the road. When I looked at the end of February, there was a stack of products that were there, and when you clicked on all of them, most of them didn't have checklists and things like that. So that just means they're not ready. They're just put it at the end of the month because maybe. So we'll talk about them again in March.
Sure.
That's probably where it's heading at this point.
I will say, I did see the Immaculate thing. There was I'm not a big Panini fan either, but there was a cool Hall of Fame football card that they're doing in it. And it's not an auto card, but it's they're going to do a Hall of Fame set where it's going to have this, it's just a Hall of Fame shield in the card.
I think I need help.
Yeah. It's...
What?
Obviously, I'm not buying a box
sets.
to get it.
I got 12 different sets of Panini on my desk right now as I'm looking around. And then I found one Topps card, and I felt okay.
All right.
Why do you have all that toilet paper on your...
It's what I'm working on for a show. It's what I'm working on. I swear to God. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no mailbag this week. It's all your fault, audience.
We need questions.
You didn't leave us anything.
You could even said I sucked doing Taylor Swift stuff. I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, whatever. Comment your stuffs. comment, and we don't care if it's talking smack or calling us names. Whatever the case is, we will read it on a mailbag in the future. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Episode 4. Anything else, you want to say or give a shout out or whatever?
No, I
good.
think we covered everything today. Just be careful with all your eBay purchases. Double check, verify what that card is.
And again, if you look at my rating, I've never had that problem on eBay, so please keep buying from me.
Yeah,
Yep.
more buy all of her Flacco rookies.
It was 9 of them I sold.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.